Self-awareness, that's a new concept for many of us because there's three types of knowledge: the knowledge of God, the knowledge of others, the knowledge of self, the knowledge of things as well. But a lot of people, when we grow up as children, we first focus on others, what we can see and hear among other people around about us, or the situations and things that we see with our eyes. But the reality is self-awareness oftentimes comes last. And self-awareness essentially is consciousness of one's own feelings and character and behavior. And this Christmas, after having been ignored for a few months by my daughter, who is now 11, wearing lipstick and cheerleader and a little bit too cool for school, she apparently got so busy cheering on the team, the football team, basketball team, and what have you, probably doesn't even know all the names of the players who participate in the sports at her school, but nonetheless, rah, rah, cheer, cheer, has forgotten her dad. She being in Colorado and I in Florida, so I haven't heard from her, not even weekly phone calls, so it's kind of sad and disheartening, but nonetheless, sometimes you gotta give people space and grace and place to just find themselves, be themselves. And as an educator of teenagers, I've seen a lot of teenagers and heard a lot of parents over the years comment online and in person about how kids neglect them once they become teenagers, and they like to lock themselves in their room and, go about life their own way. So I gave her the space and place to do so. But seeing how I have not heard from her since enjoying a trip to France and England together, I thought, okay, well, I'll reach out when you want to talk to me, although I send emails and so forth, and I get one-word replies. So I thought, well, let me just wait. I sent a Christmas card a couple days or a day even before Christmas. God knows it probably won't get there on time, but nonetheless, I got a tongue lashing from her mom saying, oh, it's so sad, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, it's also very sad when a kid doesn't talk to their parents and the ex-wife doesn't facilitate that. So nonetheless, what's the whole point of this message? Well, I'm going to tell you. I said, and she said, you could have just sent a card. And of course I did send the card. It'll probably arrive shortly. But the message is, as I said to my ex-wife, 2 o'clock in the morning when I got the message, I said, well, I gave you both the gift of self-awareness. Because first of all, you don't accuse people of things that you don't know about, because mailmen deliver mail or cards to the wrong house oftentimes. Sometimes packages get lost or stolen. And then sometimes parents get sick. I was sick and had an enlarged heart. I discovered when I was in the Philippines that a physical, that I had a medical exam thoroughly performed on me, and I had no idea I had an enlarged heart and had to take some time off work. But you know what? That's okay. It helps you grow in self-awareness and awareness to see how people love you, who does not love you, who's just after things and seeking to take from your hand and don't want your heart and value you as a person. So even though it may be tough to hear and to realize or to come to terms with and grasp that sometimes your own family or friends don't truly value you as a person, and they're there to just get what they can take, and they don't want to be there for you when you need love and support. Thanks be to God, He's there for us when we need that love and support and tenderness and care and concern. But some people will just milk you day and night, year by year, without ever thinking of you. And as I said to my ex-wife, I said, my daughter's 11 years old now, so she could have sent me a birthday card in November. She could have sent me That being said, she could have sent a Christmas card too. I don't have a problem with it. I understand kids, they come to self-awareness at different times in their life, and I myself was a selfish little brat for many, many years. And I'm still growing in self-awareness, as we all are, because life is full of change and growth and transformation and maturing. It's a process. Maturity does not come easy, so I'm not quick to judge anybody. And I, God knows, have acted like a child and an immature, selfish brat, even in my adulthood at times, for which I ask you to forgive me if I offended you or anybody else. But what I'm saying here is self-awareness oftentimes comes through interactions with others and what we think, oh, we're disappointed because they didn't do this and that for me, X, Y, and Z. But the reality is sometimes we ourselves have failed and disappointed people too. And before we point the finger, we might want to take a look at ourselves in the mirror and recognize that we too have failed and hurt people and have contributed to part of the problem. I remember one Christmas my dad dressed a little bit ridiculous and wore shorts, although it is hot in Florida. The shorts didn't get my attention. It was the tie. He put on a shirt and a tie, and I think my grandpa had bought him a tie. I have three grandpas, so you won't guess which one it is. He had bought him a tie, and I think he wanted to make grandpa feel good because he was coming over for dinner. And at first I didn't know what the tie was all about, but I didn't say anything. And lo and behold, it was either my dad trying to make my grandpa feel good because he was wearing the tie he gave him in the previous year, or he was just trying to make his sons, me and my brother, realize he doesn't, as an adult, get all the gifts that he wants every birthday and Christmas either, and that we should be thankful and perhaps think about others than ourselves, and was giving us the gift of self-awareness without saying a word. And I think parents need to find ways to do so. I have a friend when I was in elementary school, and his parents would take his shoes when he would leave them in the living room or elsewhere in the house, and they would hide his shoes so he would have to go looking for them after he left them where they should not have been left. So his parents at an early, young age gave him the gift of self-awareness. And I think it's a very powerful gift that parents need to skillfully and resourcefully and creatively figure out how to speak to kids who are hard of hearing and stuck on the words me, myself, and I, and sometimes lack self-awareness. So whether it be this Christmas or any of the other 365 days of the year, God help us all to grow in humility and self-awareness, maturity and grace and goodness and mercy and kindness towards one another, and be patient and quick to hear, slow to speak, and remember there's more to life than gifts, because the greatest gift is the love we have from our family and friends. And when we take them for granted and alienate, isolate, ignore them, we do ourselves a disservice, because all the other physical material possessions and gifts we think are so valuable actually ultimately come through people. And if you'd love people throughout the year, day by day, all those other gifts and things that you ultimately desire or think you desire and are ultimately deceived by and are minuscule and have no true significance or meaning, those will all be granted and given to you again, either through your hard work and skillfulness or the very people that you love and allow to enter your life and be with you on a daily basis. So stop focusing on the material, start focusing on the spiritual, connect to God, love human beings and those around about you who are near and dear, and God will take care of the rest, my friend.